Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sophia Jeeves and I'm the Mood Lady. And let me ask you a question. Do you ever get so angry that you feel like punching somebody or I don't know, throwing a book or just kicking something, but the anger is so intense that it's almost a little bit scary? Well, yeah, I mean, I think most of us that are human, we have felt that emotion once or twice in our life. And it only really becomes a problem when it starts to control us and it starts to hurt other people, obviously. So, today in our series of when we talk about emotions, we're going to talk about anger. We're going to talk about what it is, what role it plays in depression because it's major. And we're going to learn how to work with it because we are all going to feel angry at some point in our life. But to those of us with depression, anger and depression kind of go hand in hand. So let's get right in. So what is depression? Depression. No. What is anger? Anger is really basically just an intense reaction to something that we perceive has been done wrong to us by somebody, or when something goes wrong, like it's basically outside of our control and we can't do anything about it. Like, comes with a feeling of helplessness. I know in my case it does, because I have ADHD rages too. Like when somebody tries to take me out of my hyper focus mode when I'm trying to concentrate on something. But we're not talking about ADHD today. We're talking more about depression. So yeah, it's an intense emotion, a response to something that we perceive has been done to us, or a situation that went wrong that we were anticipating would go well. Um, so that basically is what the root of anger is, and depression's on the mind. That's basically what it is, and like essentially, like it's a good thing. Like our emotions play, like I mentioned in a previous video, emotions are basically our guides, right? So anger is a very good thing in the sense that it tells us that something is wrong, that something inside us is not going the way it should, that something is amiss in our environment or internally. And it also, to, I guess, an emotionally balanced person, it forces us to find solutions to problems, right? So you'll sit down with your partner if they've upset you, and you'll be able to say, okay, well, it got me upset because of X, Y. You upset me when you said X, Y, Z, and the person has a chance to listen to you and respond and say, oh, I'm sorry, I totally didn't mean it that way, and it leads to solutions, basically. So it is essentially a good thing. The problem is when it gets out of hand and it starts controlling our life, and people feel like they have to tiptoe around us, or be afraid to like say something to piss us off, or we explode in situations where there's no need and people actually physically get scared, right? We don't want that at all. But going to depression, especially like major depressive disorder, like I have, um, it's anger is much deeper than that. Like in my particular case, and it is said about depression that it is basically a response to repressed anger. So in my particular case, I had years and years of anger for XYZ. Not time to go into that, but a lot of anger situations that I went through as a child, and the way I was treated. And for me, like, we all have triggers, and we'll talk about that in a second. Is injustice is a big trigger for me, and I mentioned it a few minutes ago. If I perceive that somebody is, or was that in another video? Oh my gosh, am I going crazy? If I perceive that someone is being hurt or abused, or a situation is unfair, I will jump in and I will protect that person like a mama bear, right? But it's funny that, until now, I wouldn't do that for myself. I would do it for other people because I perceive them to be of value, and I would jump in to defend them. But I guess I was trained or whatever not to stand up for myself, but I do now. But anyway, all that caused a lot of repressed anger. And still working through that today. And it hasn't been easy, but I'm recognizing that's the next point is basically we have to find those trigger points, those sore spots from our past, which bring up those triggers, right? That make us explode and make us get angry, because it means that there's a wound there from the past that hasn't been healed, right? So recognizing the triggers is really, 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 really important, because those triggers basically are um, they're like guides again. They tell us, okay, well, this is a trigger for you because it's unhealed from the past, but it's basically telling you, me, the person experiencing it, that we have an inability to manage the deeply repressed emotions like stress, frustration. So there's no mechanism internally to say, okay, I'm feeling these emotions, I'm going to just take a step back and just think before I react. We don't have that. So when we're being triggered, we're actively in the trigger mode. So that the solution, getting to like how do we work with anger and how do we work with our triggers, is just first of all finding out what they are, and just being kind of mindful of like what situations trigger you. I'll give you an example in my case. Not to go into too many details about my personal life or anything like that, but after I had Luca, I was in really bad postpartum situation, and almost everything would be my trigger, right? And so I would fly off the handle, and I would get angry with my partner, who's lovely and amazing, not perfect, but I mean, who is, and I would just really get angry at him. And then, so my therapist, now this is maybe one of the most, I'm going to share with you now, one of the most fundamentally important lessons that I've learned in my life about depression and about anger specifically. She said to me, what is more important to you? Focusing on him and your anger towards him, or your peace, your peace of mind? So she's basically said to me, right now, your ego is choosing to be angry because it's playing a role. It's serving you somehow. How is it serving you? It's allowing you to feel a sense of righteousness, right? Oh, he did this and he did that, and I'm so angry. And so you're spending all of your mental energy fighting and being angry at him. But why don't you just focus on you? Focus on your happiness. Focus on your joy. Focus on your baby. I don't, yes, you love him. Yes, he's in your life. Yes, he's not perfect, but you're spending so much time fighting him and fighting the situation. Just focus on yourself and your own peace and your own joy. Because why? Because you're swallowing your own bitter pill. Let it go. Let it go. And so, oh my God, that just kind of blew my mind. And I kind of apply that in all of my other trigger areas as well. And I'm recommending that you do it too for your own peace of mind, because if you continue to feed, it's like, I'm thinking about something I saw in a movie once. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If you continue to feed this anger, it's just going to get worse. It's like adding fuel to the fire, fuel to the fire, fuel to the fire, until guess what? Until you get consumed by it. That's what. And God knows where that takes you. Well, that will take you. So that was like mind blowing, right? It changed my perspective about so many things that were triggering me. And so now I'm going to share that wisdom with you. And my spouse is not perfect, and when I see now the things that used to trigger me before, they don't trigger me anymore, because I'm like, let him do his thing, let him live in peace and harmony, and do what he has to do in those particular moments. And I'm just going to focus on me. I'm going to be focused on doing positive things for myself, spending time with my kid, and then all of a sudden, like I'm much less of an angry person now because I'm slowly trying to figure out what my triggers are, and then mentally doing the work, saying, okay, I have to let it go. Let it go, Sophia. Let it go. Let it go. What's more important? Is it feeding your ego, feeding the situation, or is it my mental peace and my mental happiness? Like guys, that was just like I'm sharing that wisdom with you because it changed my life. So to summarize, a big concept behind depression is that it's repressed anger. So if you find if you find what you're angry about and work through those feelings, find a smash room. That's the big thing now. You can pay $100 and take a bat in these places and smash the pieces, the living bejesus out of these places, destroy them if you want, and it's perfectly okay. I was like, oh my God, if I had known that these places existed, I would have done it like years ago, right? So find an outlet for your anger, a healthy one. Don't take it out on yourself. Don't take it out on. Try not to take it out on anyone else, and identify what those triggers are. Because once you identify what they are, you have more control. So basically, it's taking back your power. Instead of giving your power to the situations and the people in your life that cause you anger, just take back your power and say, no, I can't let that. I can't let that. I love myself, and I can't let that control my life anymore. I think that if you try following those things, the triggers in your life are going to go down, and you're going to be a much more, like I said, there's no cure for depression, but excuse me, it's going to take things down so much in your life, and you can focus on other things. Don't feed your ego when it wants to get really mad. Try not to give it all that power, because it's just gonna end up consuming you. And those are my thoughts on anger, ladies and gentlemen. I shouldn't say that anymore. My people, my humans out there. Those are my thoughts on anger. It's really important to identify it and work through it, and let it work for you instead of against you, because if not, it's gonna totally consume you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful that you're all here and you're listening. And this is the Mood Lady signing out. Have a good one.